It's that time of year again where I'm both happy and sad at the same time. The sad part is that summer is coming to an end. I'm recording this towards the end of September, so I have the month of October and the Cobra is done for the summer. But the happy and exciting part is that brings around a whole new list of mods and things to look forward to for the summer of 2023 when all that's done. Those of you that have been part of the channel from the very beginning when I first got this car know that I have been consistently modding this thing every single year. Usually a lot of this stuff happens in the off season during the winter time. I don't like to do stuff during the summer months because it's so short where I live anyway that I don't want the car tied up at the shop or downtime with the car at home doing stuff to it when I can be out driving it. So this year is no different. There is a good chunk of mods going on this car. This year is kind of twofold. I'm doing not only handling type stuff but also more power, which I guess both can be exciting depending on what you're really into. What I'll do for the end of this video is once I get home, I'll record some of the mods that I have at home. Some of this stuff isn't bought yet, but other parts of it are. So when I get home, I'll record some of that stuff so you guys can actually see it instead of just talking about it. As far as the handling aspect goes, I have a more detailed video on what I'm doing with the IRS. I'm just briefly going to mention it now. If you want to see all the details of everything being done to the IRS beyond just the bushing kit that's going in it, you can check that video out and I'll link it up above. But along with doing the FTBR bushing kit and the rest of the IRS, I'm also swapping from, currently it has H&R Sport springs on it and it sits pretty low. One of the other reasons for getting rid of the coilovers was I didn't like the ride height on it. I know it's adjustable and all that, but I just didn't like the ride height. I gained a slight amount of height with this, with going with the H&R race springs. I was under the impression that the race springs rode harsher, not as good for street driving, and I thought that they were actually lower. Turns out I was completely wrong on both counts. The sport springs will slam the car quite a bit. It's not that they don't ride good. These ride very, very well. I'm happy with the handling of this car with the actual suspension minus the completely shot bushings and everything else in the rear end that needs to get replaced on it. But speaking just from the standpoint of the suspension, it rides pretty well. But the car is still too low. So I want to bring it up a little bit higher, which goes into the other mods I'm doing with the car for why I want to do that. So I figured that going with the H&R race springs, from what I've read, they won't lower the car as much. So I can get a little bit more height out of the car, add the ISOs if I want to, bring them up even more. So that will take care of that problem. One of the other reasons why I want it higher, and one of the other reasons why it's getting more power, is I'm finally getting the long tubes put on. I do have a set of American racing headers that I've had for quite a while now, actually. I'm glad I bought them when they did because, man, the prices on those, along with everything else, I think that's a video I'm going to do too, touch on how retarded prices have been as far as modding cars lately. It's getting pretty bad. But it is getting the long tube header, so that will, of course, add power. Beyond that, I have a 3.1 VMP pulley to put on this. I was debating whether to run the 3.1 all the time or just do it for the Torco pull and put the 3.3 back on with the long tubes and call it good. Currently, I think I'm leaning more towards doing the 3.1 and probably just having to run Torco. I'm kind of at my limits right now with pump 93 as far as the power I can get out of it and be safe with the tuning and all that stuff. But if I run the 3.1, that of course is going to increase the boost, while doing the long tubes will decrease the boost. So it's going to be like really interesting to see where it falls. I'm hoping it falls like 17, 18. I won't know until it's all done. But just to be on the safe side, I'm probably pretty much going to plan on running Torco all the time for next year, just for added insurance and peace of mind and all that. Other little nagging things that I want to do with the car while it's at the shop for this year. I want to do the Cobra Engineering coolant crossover delete. So I don't like the current setup it has now with the bang ding crossover tube to get the VMP to fit properly. So I do plan on doing the Cobra Engineering coolant crossover, and I'm also planning on doing the Cobra Engineering head coolant mod to go along with that. Now this car survived almost 20 years without the head cooling mod, but it's one of those peace of mind things. I'll just feel a little bit better with it than if I didn't have it at all, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that as well. But one of the other mods going on that goes back to the handling aspect is that I'm doing the Maximum Motorsports full-length subframe connectors. That's a mod that I bought in December of 2020, and it just kept getting pushed back all the time. I don't know why, it just kind of kept falling through the cracks, but the fact that I'm having the IRS completely built, and now that I have the suspension squared away with how I like the handling of it, it makes even more sense to get those subframe connectors put on and, you know, get them out of my friggin' spare room and actually on the car. So that will conclude this video. If you do want to see some of the parts that I currently have, like I said earlier, I'll put that at the end of the video after the outro. But let me know if you have an off-season with your Cobra or your project car. What plans do you have going on? Or are you lucky enough and you don't have an off-season, you can actually drive it year-round, which is kind of give and take. Sometimes it's nice to get a little bit of a break, because then when you get the car back in the springtime, driving it again, it feels like a whole new car again with new mods and all that stuff. But the winter months definitely do suck. But let me know of your upcoming mods and your plans with your car. If you found the video helpful, entertaining, or you just liked it in general, leave it a like. If you're new here and want to see more Cobra stuff, if you want to see what this is going to pull for power with the long tubes and the 3.1 pulley, subscribe button is right down there. It's completely free, and I would appreciate it very much. But above all else, thanks for watching. Alright, like I said earlier in the video, once I got home, I would take some video of some of the parts so everyone could see them instead of just talking about it in the video. Obviously, this is the long tube setup that's going on the car. This is American Racing headers. It did come with the X pipe, and I am running cats with this setup. This is the BMR K-member. I didn't unbox both A-arms. I just figured one was enough. But this is the premium version kit, and these perches, these are spring perches for standard spring and shock setup if you want to run that instead of coilovers. I bought this on LMR. They're kind of in and out of stock a lot. I just randomly checked the site one day. They had two in stock, and I grabbed this one here. So if you're interested in that, it's tough. I mean, they come in and out of stock just random times. Over here, for a few more things, I did buy some new sway bar bushings for the sway bar. These are the Prothane ones. I imagine mine are probably pretty worn out. You guys have seen this before, but this is a 3.1 pulley that I'm still unsure if this will be on the Cobra all the time or if I'm just going to run it for the dyno pull. That's yet to be seen. I haven't decided yet. I did go with a 90mm Metco idler to replace my 100. I just didn't like how close the belt and the supercharger pulley sit next to each other. Yes, it ran like that for over a year, but man, does it suck trying to get a belt on or off. It's just a major pain in the ass. So if I don't run this pulley and I still run the 3.3, I'm going to want this on there anyway, just for any potential belt changes that I do. This here is a subframe brace. I'll throw a picture up here with a description on it. It kind of stiffens up the IRS a little bit more. This goes in with the video that I did about building the IRS. And I'll have a lot more IRS stuff coming in once it's ordered and it arrives. So I'll do video on all that stuff too, like the actual bushing kit that I'm getting. But that'll be everything. If you have any questions about any of these parts or where I got them from, leave it in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave it a like. It's greatly appreciated. And above all else, thanks for watching.